Welcome back to PSGL for number 11. Oh, as I believe this is qualifying session with the 15 drivers we have here tonight in F9 for the PlayStation platform. As the noticeable stewards mention is Vavabet will have to serve another qualifying ban this week, so hopefully he obeys by the rules in Japan this evening. So we are at round number 11 for the Japanese Grand Prix, a very iconic track on the F1 calendar. Not going this year, unfortunately, so we didn't get to see that iconic white livery to celebrate the partnership between Honda and Red Bull, but we did get to see it in Turkey for the Turkish Grand Prix a few weeks ago, and I think we all can agree it was a very good livery, as we all now have it in the game for a short time period. So 15 drivers here tonight. Dustley is not here, I know of that. We've got the usuals in this evening. We've got the Pied Piper, FVR, Bandini, Carlsbury, Mentos, Pachuca, Dusum, Lars 27, Kai Rob, CPI Daniel, NLR, Felix 1, Vavabet, Paul D, Black Yoshi, Hyped, Scholes, and Nicholas is here. I believe it's 27 laps of the Suzuka track, the only track on the F1 calendar to be a figure of 8, and has some iconic track corners such as the Dunlop curve, Degner 1 and Degner 2. As you can see, Mentos going through the S's as he will be on a flying lap. He did spin just as we started the stream, and he will be now going through them S's. He'll want to watch the curbs. It is Halloween this evening, so he won't want any tricks played on him by the curbs this evening. The curbs are quite punishable at Japan if you do get on them at the wrong angle, and it looks like Mentos is going to be doing so well on his flying lap at the moment. I believe he will be the first to cross the line in that Ferrari. He has one pole position this season, which was in France, but didn't manage to convert it, unfortunately, as he DNF'd that race. I will have a look at the stand-ins for the F9 tier while we are on qualifying session, just to give you an update, as we had a short break last week to the USA Grand Prix. So last race here in F9 was the Canadian Grand Prix, and if you haven't watched it back, then I do recommend you go and watch that back after we have the race here, and well, the race in Japan. So I will just get them up for you. Bear me 1 second, I just need to find them. So for the drivers at the moment, Carlsbury is leading the way on 79 points. Then Hype Scholes is now in second place. And then we've got FVR Bandini in third place. Then we've got in fourth, we've got Powdy. Then in fifth, we've got the Pied Piper. In sixth, we've got GTX, who is not here this evening. Then we've got Dustley in P7. Tusum, who only joined a few weeks ago, is in P8. Then we have in P9, we have Pachuca. Then in 10th, rounding off the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship, is Black Yoshi. Then in 11th, we have UF1L Nicholas. In P12, we have IFRA Mentos, which is now NRX Mentos. Then we have one of the promoted drivers, which in P13 is Lars 27. In P14 is Carlsbury. He's a reserve. Oh no, he's not. He's a full-time Red Bull. Apologies there. Felix 1 in 15, the first of the reserves. Then in 16th, who has now left the league, is Timer Azim. 17th is MMT Ethan, who has also left. In 18th is Jamie Wright. He's in the Haas. He's in 19th. He's not here this evening. In P19 is CPI Collar Killer. He is one of the Alpines who's also not here. And then we've got in 20th, we've got CPI Daniel in the last position for the other Alpine. Then in 21st, we've got Royal Harvey in the AlphaTauri. And then in 22nd, the other Red Bull, which is Dan Schneider. Then I think Florovistic has been demoted down. Then we've got F1R San in the Aston Martin. He's also not here. And then the rest have left, which is Jets, CRO Nexus, Bass Bremer, and then Kyle Lindsay is bottom, and so is Vavabet, and that is our two bottom reserves for the constructors at the moment. We actually have a joint constructors, which is Alfa Romeo of GTX and Carab on 117 points. And then we've got the two Mercedes of Bandini and Tusum in P2, joint first with 117 points. Then we've got Haas in third with 83 points. In fourth, we've got McLaren in with 72 points. Aston Martin in fifth with 71 points, so it's very close there. Then in sixth, we've got Williams with 62 points. Seventh, we've got Ferrari. Then in eighth, we've got Red Bull. AlphaTauri in ninth. And then 30 points off in 10th is Alpine with 20 points. So that is the constructors and the drivers all done, and they are the current standings as updated of the Canadian Grand Prix. Obviously the points from tonight won't be added on yet because the race hasn't happened yet. So NLR Felix 1 is a reserve, so he will get points whatever happens this evening, but he has retired this session, so let's just ride on board with Vavabet. He has got to serve a qualifying ban this evening, so he has done the right thing this time and he has retired himself. So the fastest man on the track is the driver that is first in the championship, is Kyrop. He's set on the medium compound tyre, a 1:29.0. Then we've got Lars 27. He's been quite up there this season since getting that promotion from F10. He is in P2 at the moment with 9 minutes left on the clock. And he also sets a 1:29.0, not that far off of Kai and Rob. As we've got then the two McLarens with the Pied Piper in third and Pachuca in fourth, both setting a 1:29.0. Then in fifth, we've got the first of the Mercedes is Tusum. He sets a 1:29.1 as he gets knocked down to P6 as Black Yoshi goes into the top three with a 1:29.0. So a lot of the times are in the 1:29.0s, as Karen Robb is now switched to the soft compound tyre, so he's going to do a final run on them, as we've got some yellow flags being waved by the stewards for Sector 3. I believe that is a Mercedes. So only 8 drivers have set a lap at the moment. Bandini will be looking to get up that grid, I believe, as he is in that championship fight still. Oh, as the Pied Piper goes for a spin, and I believe the Halloween ghosts have not been his friend, and he's had a trick by them this evening, as he is in that McLaren, that papaya, and he said green then, orange livery. He's looking to potentially capitalise on, I believe he's got a podium this season, or a race win. I believe it was Austria he got that, where we had an insane dry to wet race. Such fantastic race that was. If you do want to go and watch that back, then you're more than welcome to, as we have 7 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock, as we will ride on board with Pachuca. He's currently in P5 at the moment. Can he jump his teammate? Oh no, he has gone into the pits. So we'll see. Let's, as CPI Daniel has retired from the session, and second place Hype Scholes in the Drivers' Championship puts it on provisional pole, as he is now your provisional pole sitter. He is second in the championship, so it's going to be a very tasty lap 1 if the top 2 stay as they are, as he goes into the 128s, and he goes with a 128.9 as we ride on board with the Mercedes driver of FVR Bandini. I'm just going to go on board with Colesbury there, see if he's going to set a lap. Yeah, he is going to set a lap, as he will come through Spoon Corner up into 130R. 130R is a very notorious place in the Japan circuit, in Suzuka, as if you dare to risk it, you can go for a spectacular overtake as he comes through the chicane, as Pauldy sets the fastest lap of the race and takes pole position provisionally with a 1:28.8. So we'll go on board with the championship leader, and he will take us on the rest of his soft run that he is doing, as he will now come through. I believe this is Degner 1 and Degner 2. I do apologise if I get in track corner incorrect, as he comes through the Dunlop, I think it is the hairpin. That's very easy to get the understeer, as he will now head down into the Spoon Corner. He's got to get this right, because he can get oversteer out of the corner as he takes some of the curb with him. He's now going to ride down off the curb and now down into what will be 138. He's going to do this flat out as Tucson sets the fastest lap at the moment on pole with a 1:28.8. But I think Karen Robb may have something to say about that as he comes through 138. He's now going to go into the final chicane. He takes a bit of both of the curbs as the Pied Piper sets the provisional race lap. Well, the qualifying lap, should say, as Karen Robb goes even quicker with a 1:28.3, and he will set now the provisional qualifying pole position of a 1:28.3. He's round about 4/10 quicker than the Pied Piper in P2. So it looks to be that these may not be the drivers' final runs. I believe we do have one final run left in a few of the drivers, as the Pied Piper is just letting Karen Robb go through there. So do get into the chat in the stream. Who do you think will take provisional pole this evening? It's looking at the moment, it is going to be Karen Robb, the Alfa Romeo driver, but we've still got 4 minutes left on the clock. Anything can happen in the iconic track, which is Japan, well, the Japanese Grand Prix. Let's see if we can get on board with anyone. Oh, we're right on board with the Mercedes driver of Tucson, as he will come out of 130R into the chicane. He takes both of the curb there on, as he is going to go into the pits. I wonder if he's going to get ready for his final run. We'll go on board with the other McLaren, which is Pachuca, as he comes through the double right-hander, and he will now go up to, which I believe is now the hairpin. Yep, it is the hairpin. He's got to get this right, because it can cause massive understeer, as he gets that nice and tight there. And he's now going to be on his way to, which will be Spoon Corner, as he's going to keep the car all to the right, as he will want to get the shortest distance possible, as he will take a little bit of the curb, and he will now fully open the car. It will use the DRS, and he will now make his way to 130R, as he is now going to come up to that flat out in gear 8 around about 185 miles an hour. So to keep to the left, he's now going to come into the double corner, which is the final chicane. He's going to take both of the corners, and he will now finish his lap. He's going to hit that DRS, and he puts himself back up to P2, and that is a McLaren P2 and P3. That is a McLaren on the front row and the second row. So it looks like the McLarens are notching it up a gear this evening in our Halloween evening race this evening. This is the PSGL, which is Premier Sim Gaming League F9 tier. On the PS platform, we are for round number 11 in season 29 for the Japanese Grand Prix. We were on a week break last week. If you're wondering why, there was no race last week, as the USA Grand Prix took place in the actual F1 Canada, and I'm sure that was an absolute fantastic race. But our attentions turn to PSGL for number 11, which is race number 11. So far we have Karen Robb, who is your pole sitter at the moment, with a double McLaren P2 and P3 of Pachuca and the Pied Piper. Pachuca is the only driver in this tier so far this evening, this season, should I say, to convert a pole position to a race win, which was back in China. He was the first driver and the only driver to do that successfully. So he is wanting to probably keep that intact for the season. We're right on board with Black Yoshi, as he is going to come through the double the left and right the corner, should I say, and I believe this is Dunlop. I'm not familiar with the Japanese track, as he will come now through Degner 1 and Degner 2, taking a lot of that left curb, as he will now come up into the hairpin. He's going to keep that tight to the left. I think he just kind of got it where he wanted it, but not the right exit there, as he will now keep the car to the right, as he will now come through into Spoon Corner. As he will now fully open up that car, with the top speed ranging up to around about 185 miles an hour, down now into, which will be 130 yellow flags up ahead. I think that's he's going to come into traffic. And that is Black Yoshi out of qualifying. As we have now the end of qualifying. Is anybody going to beat everybody except from Mentos, Scholes, or Hyped, should I say, and Pachuca are all on a flying lap. So we will go on board with the Pied Piper. He has invalidated his lap, so he is going to back out of that. We're right on board with, let's see who is on a lap. Who is on lap? I believe Tusum. As Tusum is going to cross the line. He's currently in P7. Is he going to go up? Yeah, he knocks Pachuca down to 4th and will take P3. But what an insane lap from the Red Bull driver, which is Carlsbury. He is currently the provisional pole sitter, which is now at a 1:28.1. So we're right on board. Oh no, as qualifying is now over, and that is a Red Bull of Carlsbury, who will take the pole position in PSGL F9 for number 11, which is round number 11. So we have Carlsbury in P1 with the championship leader, which is Karen Robb, in P2. Bandini is up into P3, rounding off the top 3. Tusum is in 4th, so it's a double Mercedes on the 2nd row. Then we've got Pachuca in 5th, Paldi in 6th, the Pied Piper in 7th, Lars in 8th, Hype Choles in P9. Rounding off the top 10 is NRX Mentos, and in P11 Black Yoshi. Then in P12 Nicholas, Daniel in 13th, Felix 1 in 14th, and with the qualifying ban this week is Vavabet, who will start at the back of the grid. So we are now going to get into what will be 27 laps of the Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka. It will be round number 11 for the F9 tier. I'm not sure on the race weather, but I'm hoping it is going to be a nice sunny one. It is, as the drivers will be now picking their strategies, which I believe the top 10 will possibly do a softer medium. We may see some of the hards from outside the top 10. Some drivers may opt for the medium to hard tyre strategy. There will be also sorting their their fuel mixes, as we will get underway very shortly. While we are on the formation lap, the other tiers will be throughout the week in PSGL on both the PS platform, and I believe the PC tier will be returning as well. Not the top tier, I believe, as obviously due to the F1 esports taking place. As we do have the PSGL FIA in the chat. Ferrari's fault there, blocking the racing line whilst on a cooldown lap. Maybe a qualifying ban next week, who knows. That will go to the stewards. I'm pretty sure Black Yoshi will be having a word with the stewards there. So 27 laps of the iconic track in Japan. Unfortunately, we weren't treated to it this week, to this season, but we are going to get that nice Red Bull white livery that will be starting the race on pole position, which is Carlsbury. I'll just get up all the nice fancy graphics for you so you can keep up to date on all the drivers that you are supporting this race and this season as well. So all the top 10 are on the soft compound tyre, then in P11, which is Black Yoshi, P13 and P14, which is Daniel and Fitzwan. They are on the medium compound tyre, so I suspect they will be going for the medium to hard compound tyre unless there is a safety car, which it can happen. And then Vava, Bet and Nicholas are on the soft compound tyre, so they're going to want to get up to the front of the grid nice and quickly there. So I believe the history of this track, Michael Schumacher has the most amount of race wins here. I'm not quite sure, as I wasn't unfortunately around in that. Well, I think I might have been the back end of his fantastic 7 championship wins. I know, and I think Lewis Hamilton has won a few here, as somebody has gone in front of Carlsbury, which is Kyron Robb. So Kyron Robb is not wanting to hang around here. He wants to get going. He knows he is the Drivers' Championship leader with 5 races left on the calendar. We are going to go racing in PSGL for round number 11 for the PS platform, the highest assist tier in PS, or PSGL should I say. And we are now going to line up on the grid. I'm going to try and get the best camera angle I can possible for the race start, as the drivers are now getting into their grid slots for the final few seconds. And it's going to be Red Bull versus Alfa Romeo. It's going to be Red Bull versus Ferrari powered engine. It's going to be Honda versus Ferrari, as we now get the 5 red lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go in PSGL F9, round number 11, as it looks like Kyron Robb is having a battle here with Bandini as they are trying to get past Carlsbury, but Kyron Robb defends that position nicely as they go through turn 1 and turn 2, which is the S's. And now it looks to be that Carlsbury will now try and gain that gap over Kyron Robb and see out this race so far. Oh, set the 1 yellow flags. Who has had an incident? I think that may be Vava Bet. It is. He has no wing at the moment. So Vava Bet, he's not had the best of starts in... Oh, as Nicholas has no wing either. No, not Nicholas, Mentos. So that's a Ferrari without a wing. Oh, and that's Nicholas out. So double trouble in Ferrari, and I think Halloween has played a trick on them this evening, as that's a Ferrari with no wing and a Ferrari out of the race. And we have a battle here for P12. It looks to be, look at this, I'm going to go, I believe 3 wide into, no, as there is now a slowdown period, I believe, from the Pied Piper. As look at this battle here, it looks to be for the the top 10, should I say, in the race, as the 2 AlphaTauris are battling here, as CPI Daniel Lars is into the pits, so Felix 1 is now up to P9. We'll go back up to the front of the grid, and it looks to be like Karen Robb has overtaken Carlsbury while that was all happening. So Karen Robb, your championship leader in F9, he is now your race leader in F9 for this race in Japan. A few changes at the back of the grid as Mentos has gone for the hards, so he's going to try and go potentially to the end of the race as they now come up to the hairpin. No DRS at the moment. I'm sure they'll all be eagerly waiting for that DRS on the next lap, as we are only on lap number 2 of 27. As I believe Carlsbury is having to defend here from the Mercedes of Bandini very soon as they come through into Spoon Corner. They open up the car here, going up to the excessive speeds of 145 miles an hour through into what will be 130R. A few drivers said they may try a cheeky overtake in 130R, as it looks to be nobody is going to go for a move at the moment. Relatively everybody from P1 to P7 are in the DRS zone, as Karen Robb now sets the fastest lap of the race, but Black Yoshi beats him to it with a 132.0 as they now come through turn 1 and turn 2, as DRS has now been enabled by race control, as we will now see some DRS overtakes, as it looks to be a battle. Nope, that battle has now ended between Black Yoshi and I believe Felix 1. But Felix 1 is going to have to start thinking about his battle here with Hyped, as Karen Robb gets a 3-second time penalty, and that will be for corner cutting, so he is really going to have to be careful, as he will now come up into the hairpin. Still no DRS, as we are not in the DRS zone, as look at the train behind Karen Robb, as Carlsbury is only 0.04 of a tenth right behind that Alfa Romeo. Karen Robb has got all the pressure on him, as he is that championship leader. He knows Bandini is behind Carlsbury, and I know Bandini from earlier. Oh, as Vavabet is now out of session, and that is sector 1. Will that cause a safety car? No, that is a virtual safety car, as the drivers are now coming through 130R, so the drivers will have to reduce their speed. I think it's by 40%, I think. The drivers will have to keep an eye on their delta, as I'm pretty sure they don't want drive-through penalties, as I know from league racing myself that they are a race killer and a race end for that. As, oh, I don't know why, but I believe Carlsbury is getting a bit impatient, and he wants that virtual safety car to end nice and quickly. As we're still under virtual safety car. As Hype Shoals gets a drive-through penalty, and I think somebody else has a Felix 1 also, so that's the AlphaTauri driver in P8 and the Haas driver of Hyped in P9, and Hyped is second in the championship to Karen Robb, and look at the gap they have between them as well. Oh, we'll go back to the tyres there. So Hyped needs to kind of get that drive-through cleared quick as possible, and hopefully his championship rival does have a mistake in him. As CPI Daniel gets a 3-second time penalty. The track limits on this track are quite notorious, I believe, as they all now come through 130R. It's still 4/10 between Karen Robb and Carlsbury, as they all now come through the final chicane, as they will now start lap number 5 of 27. So I believe that's 22 laps remaining if my maths are correct. As it looks like the 2 drive-throughs are now going to be served. Lars is 27 seconds behind, so I don't think they will drop. But they are going to lose a lot of time to Black Yoshi. So it is still no changes between the top 6 at the moment. Colesbury is the race leader at the moment as Daniel sets the fastest lap with a 1:31.9 for the Alpine team. So Kyle Robb is your race leader with Colesbury, who has dropped down to P2. Then we've got Bandini in P3 at the moment, but he is looking very close on to the back of Colesbury. Then we have Pachuca, the first of the McLaren drivers. Oh, sector 1 yellow flags. That is Daniel out of the race. He has retired in sector 1. That is the third driver in for a retirement this evening. He's hit the shower and he's had enough for this race. As there's still sector 1 yellow flags, as Tusum is in 5th. Then with Pauli in P6, but Black Yoshi, oh, he's getting rather close to that Aston Martin. This could be a battle. Oh, what has happened? Pauli went completely into the pit entry wall, and that is Black Yoshi up to P6. So sector 3 yellow flags are now being shown. So that is the Aston Martin driver now, Pauli, out of the race as he went into the pit stop entry there. And Kyle Robb still leads this race. He knows that a race win here will only leave him 5 races left to win the season 29 F9 championship. Earlier on the season it was, oh, as I have to interrupt there, as Colesbury is going to go for it, and oh no, Kyle Robb has left the session. Oh no, that is not what the championship leader wanted, and Colesbury is now your race leader with Bandini up to P2. It's controversial here in Japan, and that is a desync, or well, a disconnect should I say, for Kyle Robb, as he is now going to drop down the order as everybody was so close to each other. And now Colesbury leads this race on lap number 6 of 27. So it is, oh, as Colesbury now will drop even further down to P6. I think he'll stay there for a little while. I hope he can get back into the session and he can get back racing, as he was doing so well. He's the only driver with a penalty at the moment. So we'll go back up to the front. As your now race leader. As it's now going to be what we've seen in real life F1. It is going to be Red Bull versus Mercedes. Then we've got that McLaren right behind. It's like we're watching real life F1 here. We've got Red Bull versus Mercedes versus McLaren. It's Colesbury versus Bandini versus Pachuca. Pachuca knows how to win. He's done it from pole position to a race win. So he is going to be putting that pressure on that Mercedes. But Bandini knows how to win as well. So it is going to be, I think, an absolute banger of a race. We are now through Spoon Corner. We are now going to go up to 130R in excessive speeds of 185 miles an hour. This is in gear 8 as they are using ERS. I believe Bandini is using ERS. He's not using that much. No, he's not. He's saving it. As they will now get DRS, as Bandini is going to get DRS, will ride on board with the Mercedes driver, as he will now cross the start finish line. He's going to go into turn number 1. He's going to have a look, I believe. Is he going to slip up the inside? No, he doesn't. And he keeps in P2 at the moment, as Colesbury is defending. Oh, as we have a battle here, I believe. Tusum and Pachuca. This is for the final podium place. Pachuca is going to have to defend from the other Mercedes, and I wonder if there is a few team orders in that Mercedes of, I believe, Bandini to just defend from Pachuca, to let Pachuca drop into the clutches of Tusim, as now Mentos is out of the race, and there is a safety car. Lap 8, we have a safety car. So the drivers on the softs will now, I suspect, pit. So this is going to help them drivers on the soft compound tyre. They will be able to make a free pit stop, and I suspect they will go for the medium compound tyre. Lap number 8, we have a safety car here in PSGL for the PS platform on for the F9 tier. Your current race leader is the Red Bull driver of Carlsbury. Then in second place we have FVR Bandini. In P3 we have Pachuca. In P4 we have Tucson. And then in P5 we have Black Yoshi. But that is going to change, I suspect, by the end of the race, as the drivers are now going to enter the pits. And this is a double stack by Mercedes. That is not what they want, as Carlsbury exits the pits, and he will have Bandini right behind him. So while the drivers are under the safety car, we will take a look at the calendar for the remainder of season 29 on the PS platform. So we are at Japan this evening, that is round number 11, and then we are going for another break week that is due to the Mexican Grand Prix, which is the home for the Red Bull driver of Sergio Perez. Then we'll be back on the 11th to the 15th of November for the Mexico Grand Prix. Then after that we have the USA Grand Prix. Then we have the final of the breaks, which is for the F1 Esports event number 3. Then to round off the final 2 races of the season in December, we have Baku and we have Brazil in Sao Paulo. That is for the PS platform. So we are under safety car at the moment. We have that nice updated Aston Martin green, as Kyron Robb is now back in the session, and his car's put him on the hard compound tyres, and he is now in P6 with a penalty, so he's got a lot of work to do, as we are now going to have 11 laps, no I can't count, 18 laps left of this race. Do get into the chat, who do you think will be your top 3 for the end of this race? It is very unpredictable, as Tucson gets a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Kyron Robb. While we are here, if you do like any of the PSGL races and any of the content they do have from their PS tiers and their PC and the team event, which is on a Friday, then do smash that like button and do subscribe and do press the notification bell so you never miss any of the action in any of the the PlayStation tiers, the PC tiers and the Team Cup, which is on a Friday evening. As for this evening, we are in the F9 tier, which is the highest assist tier available for the PlayStation drivers. We have a Red Bull in P1 with Carlsbury, and then we've got Bandini in P2 with Pachuca in 3rd, Black Yoshi in 4th, Tucson with his 5-second penalty in 5th, Kyron Robb after his lag or connection in P6. Then we've got NLR Phoenix 1, our reserve, in P7 for AlphaTauri. Then in P8 we've got the second in the championship rival to Kyron Robb in P8 in the Haas. Then we've got Lars 27 in P9. Then rounding off the top 10 and the final driver that is racing this evening is the Pied Piper Your DNFs for this evening is NRX, Mentos, Paul CPI Daniel 28, Vavabet, and UF1 L_Nicholas. So that is, I believe, if my maths is correct, that is 4 or 5 retirements this evening, with 10 drivers left to battle it out for the race win in round number 11 for the Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka. The real life Japan Grand Prix did not take place this year due to the current world situations, but we are in for a treat as the safety car is now in. We're going to have 17 laps of racing in PSGL F9, as Cosby will now back up the pack as the safety car will make its way into the pit entry, and we will get back under racing as the drivers are now weaving in and out to get their tyres warm. It's going to be Carlsbury versus Bandini. It's going to be mediums versus the hard compound tyre, and it looks like Carlsbury has gone. He had a little bit of understeer and he has gone immediately as Bandini decided to pit. So did Hyde, and that is Pachuca up to P2. A very weird restart there, but Black Yoshi is right on the back of Pachuca as we are now on the restart. No DRS for the first 2 laps of the safety car restart. As Pachuca is now in a podium place again, but he has Black Yoshi right behind him. He also has Tucson right behind him, and he also has the championship leader, which is Karen Robb, behind him. But Karen Robb and Tucson both have a penalty. Karen Robb is going to go down the inside of Tucson. No contact at the moment. No, Karen Robb does not get the move done, and that is a successful defend. All set to 1 yellow flags. That is hyped. He's second in the championship. He does not need a DNF or any further incidents in this race as he gets back underway. And I think Halloween paid him a trick tonight, as I think he had a moment with the curbs there, as they will now come through 130R. No overtakes at the moment as we get a bird's eye view of Kyle Robb's cars. They will come through the final chicane back onto the start finish line, which would be DRS, but no DRS enabled this lap, as the fastest lap is now, I believe, Kyle Robb. I will double check that. The fastest lap is actually Carlsbury with a 1:30.7. That is on the mediums. So Kyle Robb has got a lot of work to do, the Welshman. He has got a lot of work to do in that Alfa Romeo. He's got to clear at least 2 drivers to even think about a podium and extending his championship lead to hyped Shoals this evening, as the 2 drivers in P2 and P3 are on the hard compound tyre. So this is going to be a very interesting for Tucson. How quickly can he get past the Williams driver of Black Yoshi and Pachuca, as they will now go through Spoon Corner up into what will be 130R. And I just wonder if anybody is going to go for a move. Anyone going to be bold and brave and go for a move? It doesn't look like it, as they will now come into the final chicane. As DRS is now enabled by race control after the safety car we had a few laps ago now. And I just wonder if anybody is going to get it. It looks like Tucson won't, as he is not close enough to even think about an overtake. But Carlsbury has already a 3.2 second gap to Pachuca, and that is the difference between the mediums and the hards. As our PSGL FIA in the chat has given us an update, the Mercedes penalty would be removed but that will be a final decision, I'm sure, after the race. Anybody going to go for a cheeky dive? Nope, they're not. And they all go through the hairpin, nice and successfully there. So we'll go back on to Karen Robb. He's still not able to catch Tunetank, who is on the medium compound tyre. So it is going to be a very quiet day, I think, for the Alfa Romeo driver. His teammate isn't here either, which doesn't help, which is GTX. So the French driver is not here. So, and it looks like Felix 1 is closing on the back of Karen Robb, as Bandini gets a 3-second time penalty. As DRS is now enabled, we'll ride on board with Tunetank, as it looks like Black Yoshi is going to go for it. He's having a look, he's right on the back of that diffuser, and I don't think he's going to go for it. Neither is Tunetank, and neither is Karen Robb. The two Alpha Tauris are doing a stellar of a race at the moment in P6 and P7. That will get him. Oh, as there seems to be a little bit of contact there, and Pachuca is dropping down the order, now down from P2 to P8, and that is Black Yoshi down as well into P8, and that is unfortunate there. We will see if we've got wing damage. Yep, as Black Yoshi has got wing damage, Pachuca hasn't got wing damage, so that's an interesting one. I wonder what happened there. Black Yoshi in his second incident this evening, the qualifying incident that we all saw when he went into the back of, I believe it may have been Mentos, reading from the chat. So that will probably go to the stewards, I'm pretty sure. So Karen Robb has got himself up to P3, but he has got a corner cutting penalty for extending track limits. So he's going to have to be careful, as he's now going to get DRS on Tunetank. Tunetank is on the medium compound tyre, so with 12 laps remaining, as Pachuca and Black Yoshi are in the pits. So I just wonder what damage Pachuca got. As look at AlphaTauri, they're doing quite well at the moment. Lars is in P5 with Felix 1 in P4, but the Pied Piper is currently in P6. He is around about 6/10 behind Lars, so I wonder if he'll get him in the DRS. Oh, he had a little bit of an interaction there with the curb. As I believe the Pied Piper may go for it. As we're going to run on board with Karen Robb. He's going to go for a move which was around 130R. Oh, as Felix needs to be careful here, as he could get wing damage. So he may have a three-way fight here for a final podium, or even a net P2. As Karen Robb is going to go for it, he's going to go for it. No, he gets it blocked, and that will be Tunetank staying in P2, but this does open the door for Felix 1 to get a podium. So they now come through the hairpin. Is Karen Robb going to go for it? No, he doesn't. He might get him on the exit of the hairpin though. As there is a sector 2. No, that's sector 1 yellow flags. That is Black Yoshi. He's had, I think, a night with the curb. As I think Karen Rob is going to go for it. Oh, Black Yoshi has retired. As they are going to battle into the final chicane here between Karen Rob. As Karen Rob is going to go for the move. And he is going to get it done. Oh, safety car. I wonder if he has overtaken Tusum under the full safety car. As the host has left. So I think no, not Carlsbury. Karen Rob may have to give that position back. So I wonder what has happened to Black Yoshi. He DNF'd and immediately, as the host, left the session. So he won't get the race results unless he's letting someone get them for him. But yeah, as Dusty isn't here this week, unfortunately, which is the normal league host. No, I mean not league host, a tier host, should I say, for F9. So Karen Rob is just really backing up this pack. He's 7.7 behind Carlsbury. Carlsbury could probably make a pit stop for the softs and literally still come out in P1. That's how slow Karen Rob is going. I don't know why he's going so slow. Carlsbury is now into the pits, so is all the other drivers. So everybody is in. And Carlsbury is now out of his pit box and he's already down that pit exit. So yeah, I wonder if that is as everybody will now go for the soft compound tyre for the last 10, well, they'll be under 10 laps when we go back racing for the PSGL F9 round number 11 for the Japanese Grand Prix. I believe if the host doesn't return, then it is, well, it'll be my job, I believe, to collect the race results, as I don't know if any of the other tier admins are in this race. I don't know why he left, because it can cause lobby glitches, as we know with this game, what that can do. He should have stayed in the session, because this can hamper what will be the last 8 or 9 laps, but we'll have to keep on board with Carlsbury, as he is the safety car, he's the race leader, should I say, not the safety car, as I couldn't see the safety car, as there is the green Aston Martin safety car. So 9 drivers remain in the Japanese Grand Prix for PSGL F9 for round 11 in season 29. This and 5 more races left this season. Karen Rob is your championship leader with Hyped in P2. Hyped is currently at the back of the grid in P9, so that championship battle will definitely go to Mexico in 2 weeks' time. So we are under safety car rules, so no overtaking from any of the drivers on the track, and they must keep within a distance between each other, as Pachuca is now going to make a pit stop and I believe Hyped will make one as well. Hyped is not going to make a pit stop. He is going to trust his 3-lap medium compound tyre. If I was Carlsberg, I wouldn't get too close to that safety car, as we don't know what that safety car might be capable of doing. Just to bring you up to speed, we are on lap 19 of 27. There will be another break week in PSGL as the real-life Mexico Grand Prix, the home of the Red Bull driver Sergio Perez, is next week. So that race will not... well, that will take place instead of PSGL. And then we'll be back the week after for the Mexico Grand Prix in PSGL with USA. Then we have the esports event number 3, and then we've got Baku and Brazil to finish off season 29 in December. So round about over a month just left of racing in this tier, which is the F9 tier for as we're going to have, I believe, 9 laps left, as everybody has now caught up. As we are going to go back racing, as we are now with 7 laps left here in PSGL for F9. Round number 11, and it's back up into turn 1 and number 2 through the S's for Carlsberg. He's going to have to regain that lead, well, that gap he had on his rival today, which is the Alfa Romeo driver of Kyle Robb. As they are now coming up to the hairpin. And they will get through that nice and easy. Anybody going to go for an overtake? It looks like Bandini and Lars are having a battle here. Oh, as Bandini gets pushed off the track by Lars, no damage there for the Mercedes driver, and Hype gets himself up to P7, and Pachuca is now going to have a look at which will be Bandini, as they will now go through Spoon Corner up to 130R, and Bandini is really going to feel the pressure as Pachuca as Carlsberg now sets the fastest lap. No DRS at the moment. So everyone on the soft compound tyre with Hyped on the medium compound tyre. As Pachuca now picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, which is extending track limits. 6 laps remaining, so it is now coming into that final stint of the race. 6 laps left. We might as well say it is a Japanese sprint race here in Suzuka, the only figure of 8 track on the F1 calendar. Not happening this season in F1, but it is happening in PSGL, as we will now be going through Spoon, as they will now, as I think Hype is going to go for a move. He is going to do this through 130R, and it's going to be Haas versus AlphaTauri. Hyped goes late on the brakes but does not get the move done. DRS is now enabled by race control, so it's going to be 5 laps remaining with the DRS, as Hyped is going to battle here, I think, with Lars for P6, but I think Bandini may want to get in this battle as well, as Hyped is on the medium compound tyre. So Hyped is at maybe a disadvantage here, as he is on the mediums as they go through Degner 1 and Degner 2. Very cautious there on the track limits. They are now going to come through the hairpin. Is Hyped going to go for it? No, he doesn't. He decides not to. But Bandini is right on the back of that Haas driver. Hyped does not want to lose any more positions. He is second place in the championship, so he needs to get past this AlphaTauri very quickly. As look at the slipstream and the pull Bandini is getting. As it looks like Hype is going to go, no, he is going to go around the outside, and I think Bandini may go for it as well, but it's all, as it seems like there was a bit of a pile up there in the final chicane, but Bandini comes off the better one out of there, and that is Hyped now with wing damage. I don't know. Oh, safety car. We have a safety car on lap 23 of 27, and Hyped has missed the pit lane. He will now have to go round, and yeah, he is going to get 2 dropped positions. So we are under safety car again, the 3rd safety car of this race. It is Colesbury, your race leader for Red Bull in P1. Then you have Karen Robb, your championship leader in the Alfa Romeo in P2, with Felix 1 in the AlphaTauri on P3. Then you have the Pied Piper in P4 for McLaren. Then you've got the 2 Mercedes, which is in 5th. We have Tusum in P6, FVR Bandini. 7th, we have Hype Shoals, the Haas driver on the medium compound tyre, the only driver on the mediums. 2nd in the championship to Karen Robb. In P8, we have the other AlphaTauri, which is Lars 27. Then in P9, we have Pachuca, the only, well, that is 9 drivers remaining. The drivers that have not been able to finish this race is Black Yoshi, NRX Mentos, Paul CPI Daniel, Vavabet and Nicolas, all retired from the race, either in the pit lane or through an incident. So, how many laps are we going to have left after this safety car does come in? As the safety car is going quite slow, I don't know what it's doing. as we are on lap number 24 of 27. The safety car is out. Very late safety car, I have to say, here in PSGL. As we will be now entering lap number 25 very shortly. And I don't think that safety car is going to come in. It's too sing. So all the drivers are now behind the safety car. So Carlsbury probably will get us back on the racing very shortly for 2 laps remaining. Also a quick update, Jackson, who normally is here with me this evening, unfortunately is missing this week. But when we do come back for round number 12 in Mexico, he will be back in the commentary booth with me to see out the final races here in PSGL F9. Apologies there for the slight interruption, as we are now going to have 2 laps left of this race. As I think the drivers know that that safety car is going to come in this lap, as they are all warming up them 6 lap worn tyres. The only drivers on fresh softs is Bandini and Hyped now, as everybody has had 1 lap on the soft compound tyre, whether that be racing laps or that be under the safety car. As you can see, the safety car is now going to come in for the final 2 laps. That is going to be lap 26 and lap 27 here in PSGL, round number 11 for season 29. It is the Japanese Grand Prix, the only figure 8 track in the F1 calendar. And we are going to get back on racing very soon should I say, as they all now come through the final chicane. And it looks like Carlsbury is already done his rival here today, and he is already put his foot down, and he may have caught Karen Robb napping, as they will now come through turn 1 and turn number 2, which is the S's. Then they will go through into Dunlop, I believe, and then they'll be on to Degner 1 and Degner 2. Oh, Phoenix 1 has had a spin, I believe he has, and it was going all so well for the AlphaTauri driver, who is in a reserve spot today. So that promotes the McLaren driver of the Pied Piper up to a P3, which is a podium place. As it looks like there may be some Mercedes team orders here, as Bandini is going to overtake. Oh, and that was not a good overtake switch between the Mercedes, as Hyped has now got wing damage and will drop, I believe, a position here, as Lars is going to go for the move. as Lars goes for the move through the S's. Oh, as Lars has clipped, I believe, Hype, but Hype did have damage, and I think Hype stuck his wing in where it shouldn't be, and that is now put him into last place. But it is still going to be a battle here at the front, as Carlsbury is going to potentially take a pole position to a race win here, as he is going to have to defend from Karen Robb, right on board with the Alfa Romeo driver. This is going to help him extend his championship, as Felix One has left the session. So let's see if Karen Robb can get the move done. He's closing, he is closing. It is now going to come through 1WR into the final chicane. They are going to come through the final chicane, but it looks like Bandini and the Pied Piper are going to have a battle here, and Carlsbury is going to win the race and take the race win. Karen Robb will drop down all the way down to P6, with the Pied Piper taking a podium with a P2. The twosome in P3, Lars in P4, Bandini in P5. Karen Robb drops from P2 down to P6. So that is the end of round number 11 for the Japanese Grand Prix in PSGL F9. The highest assist here in PSGL PS platform, and that is a Red Bull race win for Carlsbury, who takes the race win here, provisionally pending any stewards reports. Then we have the Pied Piper, who takes his second podium of the season for McLaren. In third, a familiar face now, F9, which is Twosome, and he takes another podium for the Mercedes-Benz team. So we will now take a look at the provisional race classification for PSGL F9. Carlsbury is your provisional race winner in P2, Twosome in P3, then in P4, Bandini in P5, Karen Robb in P6, Pachuca in P7, then we've got Hype Shoals in P8, then P9 is Felix One, and inside the top 10 is then your DNFs are Mentos, Pauli, Daniel, Vavabet, Nicolas as well. So 9 drivers did complete the race successfully, and 5 did not make it. So that is it for another race in PSGL F9 for race number 11. There'll be no race next week, as there will be a week's break for the Mexico Grand Prix, as that will be taking place over the course of next week. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for PSGL again in F9 for the Mexico Grand Prix. But until next time, when we go racing in F9 for PSGL, enjoy the rest of Halloween and enjoy next week, which will be Bonfire Night and the Mexico Grand Prix. And myself and Jackson55 will be back for Mexico. But until next time, I have been NSR Storm Kings. It's been a pleasure to commentate again in PSGL, and good night.